And I'm Danielle Wiggins with Maureen Kyle, Lindsay Buckingham, Dave Chudowski, and Holly Strano. We have a lot to get to this morning. We are live on Facebook as well as YouTube, and we're talking about the latest in the Derrick Chauvin case, as well as were you stuck in traffic on 76 West in Akron and you're like, whoa, what was that on the highway? Well, we have the answers coming up. But first, Holly, we said it this morning, say it ain't snow.
I know, right? No, we do snow in the forecast. So not today, thank goodness, because that would be a tough one on a Monday. But we are looking ahead to snow late tomorrow, mixing in, and then overnight Tuesday into your Wednesday. And there you see it in all its glory. Oh, look at that transition. My goodness. So the Wednesday morning drive is going to be a challenge. Let's just go ahead and say that now. And it's not because we're going to have over a foot of snow. It's just the timing of all of this, Danielle. We know how that works. So we'll have you covered anywhere from trace amounts and then as much as 1 to 4 as you get to a little further inland. So the great news is that after Wednesday, we warm up really fast.
So I love that, Holly. I mean, it's April. All of us do know that this is April in Northeast Ohio. You cannot put away your snow gear until what, June?
I mean, I feel like if you put it away, like you're jinxing us. So don't do that.
You said what?
I said you can't put it away or you jinx us, right?
Right. Right. Well, thank you so much, Holly. If you have any questions on that, go ahead and put it in the comment section. Holly is going over to WTAM virtually, at least, to give them the forecast and let them know about the snow as well. But one of the big talkers this morning, as well as the big stories this week, is the wrapping up of the Derrick Chauvin trial out in Minnesota. And even though it's in Minnesota, he's accused, the former Minneapolis police officer accused of murdering George Floyd. And even though it's all the way in Minnesota, it's still going to have an impact nationally. And Mo, you've been looking at that all morning long.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've been listening to the testimony. It's just been really fascinating to take a look at the twists and the turns and where, the prosecution started out, where the defense, went with the angles of their witnesses. And so there's been a lot of twists and turns. And the big thing that's happening today is the closing arguments. So this is where, as you know, with closing arguments, the defense gets to wrap up their whole point, prosecution wraps up their whole point, and then the jury goes off to deliberate. I happened to be listening in the car as the judge gave his directions to the jury, and something struck me. I've covered trials before in my career, but the judge said, "Look, you guys are going to go home. You guys are going to pack a bag. You pack as if it's going to be a long time. Ooh. It's up to you how long the deliberations take, but pack as if it's going to take a while." So really, it's going to be in their hands to decide, if Derrick Chauvin is guilty. And we always hear the phrase "beyond a reasonable doubt" whenever it comes to finding a guilty verdict. And I think the best way I can kind of sum it up for everybody out there, in case you haven't been paying attention to this, I think what the defense is going to have the jury look at when it comes to beyond a reasonable doubt is what caused George Floyd's death. And that's what they really focused on when they were putting people and medical experts on the stand. The prosecution is saying that Derrick Chauvin, the officer, putting his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes is what caused the asphyxiation that caused George Floyd to die. The defense threw out a lot of other alternative reasons why it could have happened. And they said it was his drug use. They said it could have been a number of other factors that caused his death. So that's where they were trying to throw in the reasonable doubt. What was interesting that the jury was not allowed to consider, and this happened on Thursday. I think they wrapped up on Thursday and said, we'll come back Monday. What happened on Thursday was the defense threw out this notion that, well, it could have been, he was close to the car. They had a medical expert who did not study. He was not part of the medical examination of George Floyd, but he was a medical expert that the defense called. He said, well, he was on the ground near a car. It could have been carbon monoxide poisoning from the car exhaust. And then the prosecution says, wait, we looked back and here's the medical records that show that there was no carbon monoxide or higher level found in his blood, but they were not allowed to present that to the jury. If they had presented that evidence, because it was new evidence, if they had presented that to the jury, it would have been a mistrial. So there was a lot of like little twists and like I said, it was very fascinating to follow all of this. So there's, the jury is going to be able to also take their own computers. The court has put all of the video, a lot of the evidence on a computer that they will be able to take into the deliberating room. That way they won't always have to come back into the courtroom if they want to see another piece of evidence or if they want to see a video again, which sometimes makes those deliberations take a lot longer. So this is a new way of doing it. They're going to have their own computer. They're not going to have to ask the judge to replay it, come in and out of the courtroom, which, anytime the jury's coming back into the courtroom, you're wondering, do they have a verdict? Oh no, they just want to see this piece of evidence again. So we're not going to see that too as we go throughout the jury deliberations. So we will be following it all week. I mean, it's going to be a big story. There were protests last night. We reported that this morning. We could prepare for some protests throughout the country. I mean, really, it's been in different cities, not just Minneapolis, throughout this whole process. So it will be a big story that we'll follow all week.
Yeah, and the New York Police Department, we reported this morning that they are not even allowed to take any time off, really preparing for potential protests, no matter what that verdict comes out as. So the entire nation really watching it. And we know that we put in the comment section, for those of you who are watching live on Facebook, have you been watching the trial closely? And we also have, if you haven't, we have a story there in the comment section that really shows you our coverage of the Derrick Showman trial. So if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and go to WKYC.com right now, or maybe right after this, and then you can see our Derrick Showman coverage, and that trial for the death of George Floyd is pretty much always on the front page of WKYC.com. And going back to what Holly said about the snow, I see that's also on our front page of WKYC.com. I want to get some of your comments in about the snow. Johnny Cleveland is saying, let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow. Joe, he's saying that it always snows in April in Cleveland. 2021 isn't any different. I do remember the snow last year in 2020. I'm not sure if it snows every single year in April, but it's something that we are definitely used to. And as Holly said, that snow will potentially cause some traffic issues on Wednesday morning as it comes in Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. But speaking of traffic, Dave, you had something that was causing some issues in Akron yesterday, and people are like, wait a minute, did we have a UFO land on 76 West?
Yeah, we're still trying to solve this problem, right? I don't know. Does snow bring UFOs? I'm not sure. Here, so can we get a sight of this, Danielle? Can we get a picture of it? And that would
hold on just a second.
That would help explain it. It happened over the weekend. It was on I-76 West. So it was a giant dome-shaped item. It blocked traffic for about an hour. And if you look at it.
Us in the ads. My apologize.
No, we can see it.
You see it? Okay.
You can see it. I mean,
we can see it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Is that a UFO, everybody? What do you think? Weigh in.
It looks like one.
It does.
But my gut reaction, though, to all of this is like, I think they would have covered it with something if it really was a UFO. I don't think they just like call it UFO.
There you go.
What is that district?
District
photo 9 or district whatever.
That photo was shared on
area
Facebook.
9.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it got stuck trying to navigate through the construction zone. Highway Patrol says it's just an industrial furnace ladle. It's used in steel making. So we can answer the question. It is not a UFO. So, and we've seen a few things like this lately, right? Didn't we have the oversized?
Well, it can't be a UFO because it's not flying. It's driving, right?
Well, That's
I'm going to
true.
guess if the government found an alien, they're not going to just like put it in the back of a pickup truck to wave to people like it's a parade.
Right. Well, it stopped traffic for on 76 West. But here you go. You have to read some of these comments up here for like, what does this look like? Okay. Does anybody like what it looks like? Any guesses? Okay. So here's one of the funnier ones. It looks like the bottom of a plunger.
Yeah,
And if you look at it, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then someone says, it's their Saturday morning cartoon cereal bowl.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say, to me, it looked like a light, when like you have what are those called? One of the ones hanging like above a kitchen island.
Yeah, you're right. Right.
I don't know. I think it just looks like a UFO landed and got stuck. I'm sticking with it.
Upside
down bowl.
Yeah, so that's the Saturday morning cereal bowl. Now, H.I. Smith, Maureen, this is it. I believe you were the one that's saying, or was that you, Dave, about if it was really a UFO, they wouldn't just hide it. They wouldn't just say, "Hey, here it is." That was you, Mo.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
H.I.
cover it up.
He says that, well, sometimes the best way to hide something is in plain sight.
That's true. That's true. Maybe he would just be like, whatever. Those for NASA.
Right. So that's there. A lot of you are interacting with that on WKYC.com. And I wish Holly was on because poor Hannah, she says she's not excited. Her wedding is this weekend. I really hope the sun peeks out.
Wait,
well, yeah,
actually, warmer. I think it was supposed to get up to 60 again, right? Hannah, you're good.
Yeah. So Hannah, congratulations.
Yeah, unless she's getting married on Wednesday, she'll be fine.
No. Oh, Saturday, Hannah, it might rain on Saturday, but those make for really beautiful photos.
Okay.
By the way.
So Hannah, you have to send us some pictures of your wedding. But yeah, it's going to be 60s. So the snow should melt off by
Let me help out a second here real quick. So
okay.
Pre-pandemic,
let me stop this.
Pre-pandemic, you could be upset about rain or snow on your wedding. But now after going through a pandemic, I think we're just happy we can have a wedding. So there's the silver lining.
You're right there, Dave. Thumbs up.
Okay.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us for this edition of the On The Go show for Monday, April 19th. We appreciate you. Again, all of the stories that we covered in this edition, Derrick Showman trial, the UFO on 76 westbound in Akron, as well as the snow that we're going to get midweek. They're all in the comment section, stories for you. Remember, stay with WKYC.com throughout the day. And we will see you tomorrow morning starting at 4:30 a.m. on Go. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.